Welcome back to the Fantasy Football Field Guide. We got a long episode today, so let's just get right into this poll. Do the Broncos still draft QB if Justin Fields or Trey Lance falls? This is after the Teddy Bridgewater trade. So your answers are yes, no, only for Lance, so you only draft Lance if he falls, or you only for Fields, only draft Fields if he falls. I think they should draft either of them. I think they still have sky-high potential, and you figure out what to do with Drew Lock later. You never know what Drew Lock's potential could still be, but it's not worth the risk, in my opinion. But let's get right into the mock draft. Alright, so this mock draft, I'm only going to do one round, but there will be trades. There's a few minor trades. They're actually probably pretty major, but you can probably already see one on the board. But Trevor Lawrence is going to go 1. It's pretty obvious. It's been the pick for a while now. Zach Wilson's going to go 2. Another one that the pick has been there for a few months. Now at 3, people are saying it's between Trey Lance and Mac Jones, but you're just hearing so much Mac Jones talk to the Niners, and I think it's just going to be Mac Jones. I don't really agree with it. I think Trey Lance has a higher ceiling. Maybe Mac Jones has the higher floor, but I just don't see the point. I think Kyle Shanahan is drafting based on his system, which is never a good idea with quarterbacks. You draft a quarterback, and then you figure out what system you're going to run. I mean, even if you are drafting for a system, I think Trey Lance will fit great. I think Justin Fields will fit great. Sorry. But yeah, it just doesn't make a lot of sense to me why they're taking Mac Jones, but it's been the pick, it seems like, for a while now. So next up, we got the Falcons. I don't think it's going to be quarterback. I think Kyle Pitts is going here. Make the offense just super dynamic, super unguardable. I mean, you got Julio, you're going to have Kyle Pitts, you're going to have Russell Gage still, Calvin Ridley, Matt Ryan. He's getting up there in age, but he's still a really, really good quarterback. So the offense is going to be crazy if Kyle Pitts can be what people think he can be. Now this next pick's between Ja'Marr Chase and Penei Sewell for me, but I think it's just too good to pass up on Ja'Marr Chase. Ja'Marr Chase is probably the best wide receiver prospect since Julio Jones, at least in my opinion. And with the Bengals running a lot of three wide receiver sets, they're going to have Ja'Marr Chase, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, great slot receiver, maybe the best in the NFL. So it's going to set it up really nicely for Joe Burrow. And I know he needs protection, but this is a really good offensive line class, so I think they can get protection in the second round. So the Dolphins, I think the Dolphins are deciding between Penei Sewell, Jalen Waddle, and Rashawn Slater. For some reason, I don't think they want Penei Sewell because they had the option to take him at 3, and they traded out. They traded back up at 6 because they knew someone was going to be there at 6. They don't know that Penei Sewell is going to be there at 6. So I think it's going to be Jalen Waddle to team up with Will Fuller, Devontae Parker, Mike Gesicki, and obviously Tua. Tua with the familiar face, getting the familiar face back, a wide receiver that he's thrown to before. But obviously the first trade, the Chargers traded up with the Lions. They gave up obviously this year's first because they swapped with the Lions, and then next year's first. So they're giving up a lot to get up, but they have a huge hole at left tackle, and what better story than to reunite Penei Sewell and Justin Herbert, former teammates. They can grow together, growing on the same team. So I think it's a perfect situation for the Chargers, and they can't miss. Obviously, next trade is the Patriots jumping the Broncos, taking Trey Lance. Some might think Justin Fields, but Trey Lance is just that perfect quarterback to sit behind Cam Newton. He's got the running ability. He's a better thrower than Cam Newton right now, in my opinion. Maybe a better runner, probably not as powerful. Definitely not as powerful as Cam Newton is, but I think he's definitely a better thrower, so he could even win that QB job day one. And you never know how Cam Newton's going to react to that, but hopefully he helps Trey Lance out, as Trey Lance has sky-high potential. But that leaves the door open for Justin Fields to get drafted by the Broncos. I think Justin Fields is a great day one prospect. I think he could have the same impact that Justin Herbert had last year. I mean, especially if he goes to the Broncos. He has Cortland Sutton coming back, Jerry Jeudy, KJ Hamler, Noah Fant, Melvin Gordon still in that backfield. Tim Patrick still there. I think it's undoubtedly one of the best offenses to grow with because that's a young offense too. So great opportunity for Justin Fields there. The Cowboys are going to go J.C. Horn. A lot of people are saying Patrick Surtain, but J.C. Horn fits the system more as he's a really, really good press corner prospect. And Patrick Surtain has shown that he can play zone a little bit more, but that's not really what the Cowboys need. The Cowboys play a lot of press man. And J.C. Horn fits that perfectly as the Cowboys had a huge hole last year and their defensive backfield. But I think the next pick is another easy one. You got Rashawn Slater to the Giants. He can either play right tackle right away or he can even slide inside. Andrew Thomas is at left tackle. Unless you want to move him to right tackle, you can do whatever you want. Rashawn Slater is a top-notch offensive lineman prospect. He can play anywhere. Next up, the Eagles. I think they're going to go Patrick Surtain. They could go receiver here with Devontae Smith still on the board. But Patrick Surtain is a really good prospect that could line up against Darius Slay or line up with Darius Slay, and the Eagles defense just gets a whole lot better with this pick. Patrick Surtain may be the best corner in this draft. This corner draft is really good, really balanced all the way through, so he's going to be a really good pick for the Eagles, I think. So the Lions obviously trading back with the Chargers to get number 13 overall. They take Devontae Smith, maybe who they would have taken anyway with the 7th pick. Devontae Smith is going to be that weapon for Jared Goff, and you just give him the ball and he makes plays. And people forget, yeah, he's undersized, but he can still go up and make the plays and make the contested catches that you want him to make. So Devontae Smith is a really good wide receiver prospect. I just think he's a product of maybe one of the best receiver classes we've seen in recent history. He definitely wouldn't fall this far in a lot of draft classes, but this draft class is just crazy good. So the Vikings now are going to take Elijah Vera Tucker. There it is. Probably the second best offensive lineman left on the board, but he plays interior line, so that's really what the Vikings need. They need that guard play, and Elijah Vera Tucker could be a Pro Bowl guard. That's how good I think he is. So next up, the Panthers. I think they're going to go Christian Darrisaw. People were saying that they could draft Rashawn Slater at 8, but I have them trading back, getting extra picks, getting an extra first-round pick from the Patriots, and drafting another really good tackle, Christian Darrisaw. Maybe not as good as Rashawn Slater, but he has potential just like Rashawn Slater does. So Christian Darrisaw could grow with that offense. We'll see how Sam Darnold does, but you got to protect him. So you got to give him a chance. Now, with the Cardinals, this is going to be Kwity Paye. J.J. Watt isn't getting any younger, and Chandler Jones isn't getting any younger. So I think Kwity Paye just slides right into there to that defensive end spot. He's a really aggressive pass rusher, and he is going to be really aggressive with you, and he's gonna cause some problems, especially learning from J.J. Watt and Chandler Jones. So next up, we got the Raiders. This is as far as Micah Parsons drops. He might be the best defensive player in this class, but his character issues are troubling, to say the least. But Micah Parsons is going to play either strong side or weak side, outside linebacker, maybe a 3-4 inside linebacker, but he is not really your Mike. He's good in pass coverage. People are saying he's terrible in pass coverage. That's just not true. He's good in pass coverage, great blitzer. He can even rush the passer if you need him to on offensive or obvious passing downs. But he is going to be a stud for anybody that gets him. And next up for the Dolphins, I think they're going to take Tevin Jenkins. They passed up on Rashad Bateman and Rashawn Slater and Penei Sewell in the top 10, but I think they get their offensive lineman here. Tevin Jenkins can play left or right tackle. He's probably a better left tackle, really good run blocker, and I think that's exactly what the Dolphins want to do. I think they want to set the pass up with the run for Tua to make it easier on him with the play action. And Tua's going to be, it's going to be really important to see what he can do this year because they've given him all the tools. Obviously, they just drafted one of his former receivers. So next up, we got the Washington football team. This is going to be Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. He's a Swiss Army knife. He can play strong safety. He can play nickel. He can play in the slot. I guess that's kind of what the nickel does. But he can play linebacker. He's kind of thin, which scares a lot of teams off. But Darius Leonard just played it the exact same way that Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah played it. So I don't think it's that huge of an issue. And I think this Washington defense just got a whole lot better. And they stayed young. So this defense is going to be scary for a long time. Man, the Buccaneers. So you see the Bears trade. The Bears did trade back, and the Buccaneers traded up. They gave up a second-round pick and a third, I think is what I put on there. Don't pay attention to that too much. I just needed to get the picks in the right places for my mock. But this is where Jaelan Phillips comes in. I think Jaelan Phillips is the best pass rusher in this class. And he might not have the most potential, but he still has potential. So Jaelan Phillips is going to make an impact day one, learning behind JPP and Shaq Barrett. JPP has 1 year left on his deal, I believe. And Jaelan Phillips is going to slide right in there. He's going to be able to come in and rotate with those pass rushers. So next up, the Colts. This is going to be Azeez Ojulari. They have a huge hole at pass rusher. A lot of people say they have a huge hole at tackle, which they do. But I think pass rusher is a bigger need because tackle, you can get good tackles late in this draft. So Azeez Ojulari is going to slide right in there at that pass rush position. He can even play off the ball. He can do some pass coverage if you really need him to. But he's got really good hands, and he's got potential to grow as well as a pass rusher. The Tennessee Titans are going to go Rashad Bateman. I've been hearing the Packers are tied into Rashad Bateman, but I don't think he falls that far. Rashad Bateman is going to be a perfect Corey Davis replacement. I think he has the potential to be better than Corey Davis even. And this is just a really, really good receiver class that a lot of guys are going to fall that don't deserve to go this late. So Rashad Bateman slides in perfectly with the Tennessee Titans. Next up, the Jets. Jets are going to take Caleb Farley. I think this is as far as he falls. So Caleb Farley has the potential to be the best corner out of this class. It's just the back surgery that he had. It scares a lot of teams. It scares me if I was taking him. So if he can stay healthy, he's going to be dominant. But you just got to stay healthy. So the Steelers, a lot of people are tying Najee Harris to this spot, but I don't think it's going to be Najee Harris. I think they're going to draft a corner, and I think that's going to be Greg Newsome. They got to fill in that corner role that they just lost. They lost Steven Nelson. I'm so sorry if I butchered that. That just doesn't seem right to me, but they just lost a corner, one of their starting corners, so they need to fill that role immediately, and Greg Newsome is a really good prospect to do that with. This corner class is a deep one, so Greg Newsome, although people aren't talking about him that much, could be one of the best in this class. Now with the Jaguars, I think the Jaguars are going to take Trayvon Moehrig. He is difficult to mock because a lot of coaches could put him in the slot and just see him as a slot player. But I see him more as a strong safety. You can tackle really well, and he can come up in the box. He can cover the deep if you need him to. So Trayvon Moehrig is definitely the best safety in this class, and the Jaguars have a really big need at safety. So next up to the Browns, I think this is where almost drafted the wrong guy. Zaven Collins. There we go. Okay, Zaven Collins is an interesting one because a lot of people would think you would put him at the edge just because he's so big, but he was actually really good in pass coverage this year. And they obviously don't need him in the edge because they just got Jadeveon Clowney, and obviously they have Myles Garrett. So Zaven Collins is going to be that Swiss Army knife linebacker. He could play Mike or he could play outside. It doesn't really matter. He's going to be productive. Next up, the Ravens. Got a lot of good options here. I think they go Gregory Rousseau, who's maybe got the most upside out of all the pass rushers in this class. It's tough. It was between him and Jason Oweh, because Jason Oweh, obviously one of the most athletic pass rushers we've ever seen. Runs in the I think he ran like a 4.39. That could be crazy wrong, but I think that was what it was. It's just insane. But Gregory Rousseau has the production, but I think he's better fit as rushing in the inside. So expect to see that right away. But next up, the Saints. I could definitely see a trade back spot for the Saints, but I don't think it's going to happen just because there's so many good players that they think or that they need, and I think Kadarius Toney goes off the board here. Help out Jameis Winston or Taysom Hill. I think it's going to be Jameis, but help out whichever quarterback is starting there. Kadarius Toney could fill in that Emmanuel Sanders role right away, and he can be in the slot or he can be outside. He's a crazy guy after the catch. You give him the ball, he's shown that he can run you over or just run around you. So Kadarius Toney, really good receiver prospect. Now the Packers. Elijah Moore is coming off the board here. Elijah Moore is very, very underrated in my opinion. He'd definitely go higher than this, but I think that teams are going to look at Kadarius Toney's speed, and Rashad Bateman is a bigger slot guy like Justin Jefferson was last year coming out. So, but Elijah Moore has sticky hands, super good route runner. He's got the speed, and he's just going to be really, really good, especially in that Aaron Rodgers led Packers offense. So really excited if this happens. I hope they get Rodgers a receiver, but they never seem to do so. So next we have the Buffalo Bills. This is where it's going to be Jason Oweh. If they want to compete with the Chiefs, they need to get a pass rusher. The Buccaneers showed that in the Super Bowl, and Jason Oweh might have the most upside. It's between him and Rousseau, as I said before, but Jason Oweh is just a freaky dude. I mean, one of, if not the most athletic edge rushers we've ever seen come out of college. So next up is the Ravens. Obviously, they traded with the Chiefs earlier to give away Orlando Brown. I think this is where Terrace Marshall goes off the board. Terrace Marshall is another one of those big slots like Justin Jefferson was, and we see taking over the league right now, kind of. So they just need another weapon for Lamar. They can't use that. The fans can't use that excuse of Lamar doesn't have anyone to throw it to. They need to get him a receiver. Marquise Brown is okay. He's fast. Sammy Watkins is a good second option, but Terrace Marshall could really be that number one option for you. And now, this is the Bears trade that everyone's been waiting for. This is going to be the surprise of the draft. I'm going to take Kellen Mond out of Texas A&M. I still want to see it. Okay, so these were all the trades. So Los Angeles traded Detroit. Don't pay attention too much to what this is. This trading system was just crazy. But I just want to talk about the Bears. Yes, Kellen Mond. So Kellen Mond is a developmental quarterback prospect. He needs to sit, and Andy Dalton's going to let him do that. Andy Dalton's a perfect bridge quarterback. And the reason the Bears would want to take a quarterback in the first round is because if you take a first round player, you get the option of the fifth year option. So you see a lot of teams doing that, trading back and taking who they want to get that fifth year option too, potentially. And with a quarterback that needs to sit for a while, I think a fifth year option could be a huge step, because you don't know when he's going to start. But I think Kellen Mond has a higher ceiling than a lot of these quarterbacks. I think he's got a higher ceiling than Mac Jones. he has just as high of a ceiling as Justin Fields and Trey Lance. He's that good. He's just not going to be that good right away. And maybe he won't be that good. But I really believe in Kellen Mond. And that's my mock. So, Twitter's going to be in the description. Tweet at me if you think I was terrible. But I think I did a pretty good job. Obviously, you never know what's actually going to happen. But I think that I mixed in a lot of my own thoughts and a lot of what we've been hearing. So follow the Twitter, like and subscribe. I'll be back Saturday with reactions to the draft and fantasy, how they're going to be. So thanks for watching.